Hi everyone, welcome to ShatterCast. This is our new live piece of content that we're putting out there and doing ourselves a favour to try and get a bit more visible in what we do and walk our talk. So the idea behind this piece of content that we will be doing quite regularly is to look at the video marketing secrets to help scale your business, help generate you revenue, get you visibility, build authority in your space. My name is Joe Hickey. I'm the Shatter guy. I am the founder of Shatter Media, and I'm accompanied by Mr. Alex Lowe and Nathan Nicholson, who I'll let introduce themselves. Alex, I'll let you go first.
Thanks, Joe. Well, hey everyone, I'm Alex Lowe. I'm the marketing guy. I'm the guy at Shatter who sort of does all the things video marketing wise. That is, helping you stand out with your brand online, helping your videos get traction, and helping make them part of the overall kind of marketing machine that gets you leads and sales. So that's me.
Yeah, I'm Nathan. I'm an expert in sales. I work with Joe and make sure that we understand our customers' sales journey, and more importantly, that our customers understand their sales journey and help them to actually convert more sales, specifically around driving new leads and new businesses.
Awesome. So we work very closely as a tight-knit team in what we do, and I wanted to put this together, especially with the three of us, because I think the three of us bring some very core strengths to marketing, to video marketing, to conversion marketing, and to content creation that you don't get in a lot of other places. And I think having that collective knowledge is actually really powerful. And also that when we do get questions through, which we will encourage as the weeks go by, one of us should always be able to answer any question. In theory, we'll go with that. So we've prepared a couple of questions anyway that we've because we wasn't expecting any straight off the bat. So we've got a couple of questions in. So the first one we've got is, what's the most important thing to keep in mind when creating videos for marketing? As it says the word marketing, I'll throw it to Alex to start with.
Okay, I'll dive in the deep end. So what's the most important thing to keep in mind when creating videos for marketing? Well, I suppose it comes into like what the title of this first little show is, which is Visibility, Authority, Revenue, the Real Secrets of Video Marketing. Because we say real secrets, and that kind of is like, well, what does that actually mean? But visibility, authority, and revenue. So when you're creating videos for marketing, the key thing is just like having a strategy, having an idea of what you're creating the videos for. Because I don't know about you guys, but oftentimes if people are asking about video, they're usually kind of asking like, do I need to create video? What kind of videos? What do I do with these videos? And basically the question is just like, well, is this going to be a big waste of time? Am I just going to film a lot of stuff, have it out there, no likes, no shares, and no point? So when it comes to video, like we say, yeah, it's absolutely important in our modern attention poor day and age to have video out there. It's the most shared, most watched, most binged bit of content you can have, and it builds relationships better than just about any other piece of content. So what's the most important thing to keep in mind is, why are you doing it and what is the function? It's not just a video, right? It's not just like, oh, that looks pretty, let's stick it out there and no one sees it. What is it for? Is it either to drive leads, get sales, build your brand, get visibility? And it can do all three at once, but like knowing what you're doing it for, knowing what the function is. So obviously we're probably not going to go too deep into this one. We've got other resources, but if you understand how your videos function in the larger marketing system, how they build your brand, how they get you qualified leads, and how they warm up those leads, pre-sell them for your sales team, or put them into a conversion thing like a webinar. So what I say is like, the most important thing to keep in mind is literally that. What are you doing videos for? What's the function and purpose? I don't know if you guys agree. That's my 10 cents.
I agree. I think one thing I would also add in there as well is, what is it that your actual audience is looking for? Because the video shouldn't really be about you and what your perception of it is. It should always be about your client, your customer, and what they're looking for and what they're actually going to want of you. What you might think they want of you. 9 times out of 10, even Alex or Mose will say he's tested them, and the ones he thinks are going to do well aren't the ones that actually do well, and the ones that he thinks are going to bomb are the ones that actually surpass his expectations. So it's always about what the client or your customer wants, not what you think is going to work.
Yeah, I mean, we say it all the time that, the viewers are selfish, and us as viewers, we're selfish. We watch things, whether it be for entertainment, whether it be for learning. We want to benefit from it before we're invested in who's actually creating it. It's only once that relationship has been built, then we actually care about what they do, what they've done that day. I used to do this a lot. I used to film a lot of up and coming coaches and personal brands in the space. And the first thing they'd always jump to, because at the time it was very popular, Gary Vee was doing it a lot and stuff, was we're going to do the day in the life content. And I had to have a lot of awkward conversations, first conversations where I go, realistically, nobody cares. Nobody cares about you enough at this point to care about what you had for lunch. You need to build up you need to, give them a reason to care, give them a reason to trust. But again, coming back to sort of what Alex was saying, it's about being functional with your content, knowing the journey, knowing where you want to push people to. Because if you put content up for content's sake, then okay, it's not a bad thing because you're going to get visible, but you potentially don't have the impacts that you want to have with it or can have with it without a full-on strategy behind it of where you actually want to take people, which is why we lean so heavily into customer journey, so that we can make sure that every piece of content is purposeful and has a reason to be where it is at the time that it is, and knowing where that person is in that journey, whether they're completely cold or whether they're ready to make a sale. What do you think from a sales perspective, Nath? What's the most important thing that's, I don't know, maybe helps you in the past with previous roles or in what we do when it comes to video content? What really helps you from a sales role?
I think from a video sales role, especially working within new business, it helps to nurture prospects. I mean, a lot of people don't know the difference between a prospect and a lead. But from my experience, actually, if somebody's spent half an hour, 2 hours watching a video of content that they found valuable, when you pick up the phone and have a conversation with them, they already know who you are, what you're about. It makes that conversation icebreaker much easier. It separates a different strategy from cold calling, but it's a much simpler strategy. And actually, the people that are actually on those videos are watching you because you're giving value. So naturally, when you are actually having a conversation with them, you can actually help them and guide them along the sales journey and path.
Wicked. So the next question we got was, how can I make videos stand out when there is so much competition on platforms like YouTube? I'd probably challenge that one a little bit. Yes, YouTube, there's a lot of people on there, but I think in the grand scheme of things, there's still a lot of people not doing YouTube. There's still a lot of people not even touching video content yet, let alone considering YouTube as an option. I mean, I've spoke about it for a good few years now, at least, saying that I think over the next 2-3 years, YouTube will probably become one of the main platforms for business. It already is heavily in the States, as far as I can tell. Us Brits are a little bit more reserved. We're a little less showbiz. We're a little less jazz hands. So, and I think there's a negative connotation with YouTube as well when it comes to British culture, is we look at it and go, you've got to be an influencer, which means you've got to be a gamer, or influencer itself kind of has a negative connotation of the Instagram lifestyle of the kids who would rent high-end cars, take pictures and pretend that's the way they lived. And I've had so many conversations with business owners that say, I don't want to be an influencer. And I have to constantly reframe it and say, you're not. We all influence, but look at it as you're going to be a teacher. You're going to educate. You're going to educate people around what you do, what you offer, the quality, the experience you've got, how you can help people. And don't think about it as influencing. Think about it as positioning. It positions you as an expert in your space, so that when it comes to building trust and rapport with people, there's no better place for it, realistically. I think YouTube is one of the hardest platforms to crack, and it is one of the best platforms to build a following, build a community, and the highest quality of sort of leads, I think, come through YouTube. Alex, I know you've done a lot of YouTube channels and you've helped a lot of clients build some pretty big ones, so you've probably got more knowledge in this than I have, so I'll let you go with that one.
Well, no, I mean, that's a very good answer. And I think also, so videos stand out when there's so much competition on platforms like YouTube. I think like you said, Joe, it's like there's, first of all, competition's good. Like, you want to be in a competitive market, otherwise there's probably no money in it. So how do you stand out in a competitive market? Well, first of all, obviously, you are unique. Like, particularly if you are a personal brand or you're the face of your business, there's only one of you. And so lean into your authenticity. Don't try and be, Mr. or Mrs. Professional, amazing. Be yourself. Kind of find your natural authenticity, find out how you come across and let that shine. And also, obviously, just your brand. Like, position your brand in a unique category of one style way. And so competition's good. And we often say to clients, like, whatever market they're in, look at who else is out there on YouTube. Look at who's got your audience right now. Chances are, if they've been posting consistently, and consistently is the key word, if somebody's out there posting consistently, they will be getting traction, they'll be getting visibility, they'll be getting leads. Now, you might be better at whatever you do. Whatever it is you do, you probably might be better. But if they're more visible, chances are they're going to make more money. They're going to get the best and first opportunities in the market. They're going to get the celebrity authority positioning. The more visible you are, the more money you make. So whatever market you're in, health, wealth, relationships, mergers, obviously we work with people across all industries, but like whatever it is, the key thing is just to get on there, get into the competition and just be better, be more authentic, be more consistent, and you can do it. Because, I mean, as Joe, as you said before, YouTube's where it's going. Like, we speak to business owners all day, every day, like serious, established business owners. The number one thing they always do is say, I really need to focus more on my YouTube channel or my content. Because I know if I get the content machine working, I'm gonna win ultimately. Because the more visible I am, the more and better opportunities I get. So there's not so much. I just say it's worth doing, and it's worth just getting started and just being yourself, basically.
I think it's potentially the wrong question to ask, actually, as well. I think it's less about how you stand out and more about how you get heard. How do you get heard by your audience? Not just that, because anybody can get a one-off viral video, stand out, but it doesn't mean it's going to convert into anything other than your 15 minutes of fame. How you get heard, I think it comes back to, again, what we were talking about earlier, is listening to your audience. Listen to them and they'll listen to you. They dictate your content.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. I think it's about giving value, right? So how many times have everybody searched, how do I ... fill in the blank? And 9 times out of 10, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world. So you'll go to YouTube naturally to search how to do things or to solve a problem. And if you're giving value and they come across your content that gives them the answers that they're looking for, you're instantly positioned as an expert.
And I think that's one of the first places a lot of business owners go wrong, is they don't realize that YouTube is a value platform. It's not a sales platform. So videos that really don't do well on YouTube generally is promo videos. Now, you can use YouTube to host it and embed it into your website and stuff, and that's absolutely fine. But if you're using YouTube and a strategy towards it where you're putting promo videos on there and you're expecting a YouTube audience from that, it's not going to happen because they don't benefit from the content. And it's similar, I've noticed as well, even with testimonial videos, unless it's played really cleverly and it becomes more of a sort of entertainment style thing, which still offers value to the viewer, just a straight up interview testimonial doesn't do too well. And it doesn't actually position you very well. When that's placed on your website, different story.
I jump in there, yeah, because I've noticed that, as you said, like when I've worked with a lot of channels in the past, it's an interesting thing. I noticed that a lot of people who are really good marketers, like, in the real world, they tend to suck at YouTube. Like, they're really good at everything else, but for some reason they can't crack YouTube. Why is that? It's because they're so direct response focused. Every video's got to have a call to action. And that's not how you win the game of YouTube. It might be how you win the game of marketing outside of YouTube on funnels and stuff. On YouTube, the people that win are the most generous. They're people who understand the platform. They kind of use the platform. They love it. They understand it. And they just give content. And their only call to action is watch more content. Watch more content. So the only aim of YouTube is to build an audience of people who love your content. You can then monetize them in 1,000,001 different ways. And if you, as anyone here who's got a business knows, if you've got an audience of people who are the right fit for you, you can lead them to a funnel, you can lead them to something else, but the focus can't be on like promotion. So say like even if you're a good marketer or you're a good CEO, you do something in your business normally, when you're doing YouTube, take off your marketer hat and put on your content hat. And don't be afraid to give away your best tactics, your best, secrets, your best stuff, because that's what's going to light people's brains up when they watch you and go, oh, this person's amazing. This person understands me. They've given me so much value in a 10-minute video. Imagine if I bought their products. Imagine if I got to speak to them. And that's what you want to do when you're doing videos. So I just thought that's a really good point, Joe. I wanted to hop on it and just make sure people are, that's a takeaway. That's one to write down for anyone watching is, yeah.
And it's not just about necessarily that, that answer you give them sparks something in them. The fact that you're being open enough and vulnerable enough to give away your secrets is actually a massive trust building exercise. And it can really help build that relationship. And because then you're going to trigger the thought in them of going, why is this guy telling me the stuff that the past 20 guys I've just watched held back and then put behind a paywall or something like that? So it's a great way to build trust. It's just off of everything. A lot of what we do is heavily focused on value-driven content. And that's why, because it's all about building relationships and trying to build relationships on a mass scale.
From a sales point of view, there's nothing wrong with actually making an offer or a call to action on YouTube, but it's about building that community of people that are following you, people that actually respect and value the information that you're giving. And yes, you wouldn't do an offer once a month, but if you did one once a quarter, once every 6 months, and it was a valuable offer, actually you've got a strong following of people that will then take that offer because you've built that know, like, trust and built that relationship over time.
I think that also sort of springs back to YouTube's a long-term game. You can't jump in and do sales straight away. That's the quickest way to turn off your audience. So when you do bring in those sales, you need to have a sort of dedicated fan base there already who are almost asking to buy stuff. That's why, the big YouTubers do like merch stores, and they usually have affiliate things that they've got with Amazon or whatever their niche is. But they've built the audience first, build it through value, then they can monetize.
The way I say is because obviously, like any business owner, promotion and revenue driving activities are your number one thing. So obviously that is going to be a big focus, and you definitely should be pitching and making sales. So if you're building up your YouTube channel as an audience, the way to think about it, as we said before, is in the whole ecosystem. Because what can you do if you've got the videos? Obviously, you can put them on YouTube. The thing we haven't touched on that we'll touch on in a later episode is the concept of shattering your content so that it appears all over social media. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with your videos. So that's building an audience out in the world. It's getting you visible. It's getting you noticed. It's out there so your target market can discover you. They can build a long-term relationship with you. And then a portion of those are obviously going to go into your funnel, into whatever promotion you're doing. And if you build this up, this is an evergreen thing as well, because the videos are evergreen. It's not like they work once and then go away. They're there all the time. They're basically like your promoters that never sleep, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. They're there for anybody who's searching. And remember, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, owned by the first. If you're Google, if you're not on there, all those people typing, searching, doing stuff, they're going to be going to whoever is doing content. So we're not saying don't promote. We're just saying do the value on that, build the audience, and do the promotions on another platform somewhere else. Because obviously, like if you build up an audience of people who know, like, and trust you, you have influence there, and you can use your videos. You can embed them on a blog. You can transcribe them. You can get it as a blog. You can stick them into your email sequence. Like if you have a nurture sequence for new subscribers, if you do 5 videos on like the 5 things most people need to know about whatever your subject is, you can put a thumbnail of the video in the email and then link to it. So don't just think of it as like just on YouTube. Each of these videos is assets that you can use across your entire marketing spectrum. So I just wanted to kind of point out that there's a lot of stuff we can do. And I'm sure in future episodes, we're going to dive into some of these. And if you've got any questions that have come up for anything we're saying, because we are saying a lot, let us know in the comments or just DM one of us, just tell us. Because obviously we're here on this show to answer your questions, to add massive value to you and your business, and to show you what's possible with video.
Just going to roll back a little bit on something you said that you touched on, which I think again is a point that you mentioned really quickly, but I think it's an important one. Is I say YouTube's a long-term game, and there's a reason for it, and it's because that it is an evergreen model if you play it that way, and it's something that if you look at the lifespan of content, your lifespan of content on things like TikTok are probably about 3 minutes. It's really short. And I've done it before. I've gone on, I've really liked something, flicked off it by accident. I can't get back to it unless I remember who the person was or whatever, because it's just so random. And other platforms get a little bit longer, but they generally tend to span from a few minutes to a few hours to maybe a few days, at best a week or so, where they like to throw things back in your feed. But with YouTube, the lifespan of content on YouTube is actually years. I follow YouTubers who are in my niche doing the sort that I do, who have old dormant channels that they haven't touched in 4 years, and they're still managing to monetize videos from 7 to 10 years ago. and it's still getting new views because they played the game right and making evergreen content, and it still generates them money and it still generates them leads.
Oh, yeah, I've had that. Like with clients I've worked with in the past, like they've been getting leads from videos they put out 5 years ago because it's still relevant and it's still there and it works. And anyone who's got a YouTube channel knows sometimes you'll get a video just take off, just spike for whatever reason. And if a video spikes, it's like the floodgates open for traffic because YouTube's like, oh, this channel's popular, let's give it more traffic. So if you do have a video spike, that's going to draw you traffic across your whole channel for years to come. And just all of your content anyway is just going to be out there constantly waiting for whoever the viewers are. And the more value you add in the videos, the more people you have watching them, which is why it's important to get to emphasize watching the channel, the more you're going to get suggested and the bigger your influence grows over time. So it's something that's exponential. It just keeps growing and growing and growing as long as you are consistent with content and as long as you understand your market. So yeah, that's a great point.
Joe, just before we're going to roll back on what Alex said as well, is that actually monetizing YouTube, most people that we speak to are actually scared off by the fact that we're saying we're monetizing YouTube because they're thinking of influencers and things like that. And thinking that getting paid from YouTube themselves through advertisement and all the rest of it is the only way that you can make money on YouTube. But actually taking people off platform into your sales engine, into your CRM, into your emails nurturing, like Alex was saying, is the most effective way. So it isn't a case of you have to be having a million subscribers and getting paid from YouTube to make money from it. There are more effective ways, which I'm sure we'll cover on future episodes.
I mean, yeah, you have direct and indirect forms of monetization, like Alex said. There's loads of ways of doing it. Some more effective than others, some easier than others, some you can implement much earlier on than others. But, he's definitely, I still think it's probably the most powerful platform, especially if you pair it with something else, which I might talk about in the next question. So the next question is, what types of videos get the most engagement on social media? So I think I'm going to switch it up. I'll throw this one to Nath. So from your perspective, when you're looking at new leads, when you're contacting new leads, when they've seen the sort of content that people have put out that you're calling on behalf of, what have you found works best?
I think what type of videos get the most engagement on social media? For me, it's the ones that are value driven. It's the ones that speak to the audience. It has to be audience driven. We touched on it at the very beginning, and I'm sure we're going to touch on it 1,000 times. It isn't a content that I've made, you've made, anybody else has made with us in mind. It's always, what is it that speaks to my ideal client, and who is my ideal client? If I can answer that question effectively, those videos should be powerful and get the most traction and engagement because you're speaking to that audience that are answering questions that they're looking to get answered. That are talking the language that your ideal client's talking. Those are the videos that are most engaging. What's your thoughts, Alex?
Yeah, that's a great answer. I mean, what types of videos get the most engagement? I don't think there's a particular type. I think you can think of it as categories, right? Because obviously there's videos that answer specific questions people have. So videos that are very specific outcome focused, that just showcase your expertise. There's videos that show your personality, your brand. I mean, I suppose that's a bit like what we're doing here. It's like we're answering questions, but it's a bit of a behind the scenes on us. This isn't a professional video shoot. We're just kind of talking. So there's videos that solve specific problems, videos that boost your brand, videos that overcome objections or bust myths. So there's different types of content you can create. So I think in terms of engagement, it's just understanding what your audience is looking for, posting consistently, and then the data you get, like every month having a look at your data, what is the audience consuming, and then do more of that. So what types of videos get the most engagement? It can totally depend on you and your audience, but as long as you've got a way of tracking that, and as long as you're testing different angles, you're going to find out. And this is something that you can keep optimizing, keep improving. And this is why I keep saying the people that are consistent with content are going to win, because it just builds up and builds up over time. But it's an interesting question to start thinking about. Ask yourself that if you're watching this video. What types of videos do I think my audience would engage with best? And then do those videos. That's the way to ask that question.
I think I was going to say pretty much the same thing, and without trying to put marketing down too much. I think, I always say to people anyway that I think a lot of what marketing is, it is just test and refine. So there is no silver bullet. There's no one answer for all. So it depends on your niche. It depends on the current network you've already got. It depends on the network that you've got whilst you're growing. It may change during that time. It may change based on your industry or your personality. So it literally all comes down to just start putting stuff out there, seeing what works, seeing what sticks, have that purpose in mind. And then, like I say, go back, look at the data, see what people are liking, see what they're engaging with. Maybe ask your audience as well what they want to know about.
To jump into that for a second, because that's a little ninja tactic we can give people. When you ask it, like, well, what types of content should I create? Ask your audience, literally. On LinkedIn, for example, you can do polls. So every Monday, just do a poll. What do you most want to know, or what would most help you with X? Whatever your topics are. And then whatever they say, the next day do a video about it. The next day do it, so you can go email your list. Hey guys, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to start posting more content. What would you want? What video would you like me to create? Which of these are the biggest challenge for you? So go find out from them, create what they want. And as you say, like, that's marketing 101, is you just find out what do people want and give it to them. That's it.
A tactic from a sales point of view that I've used quite often is asking the sales team to identify who their ideal client is, because who you think as a business owner or who you think your ideal client is, actually, when you ask your sales team that are on the front line speaking to your clients, is completely different to what you thought it would be. So actually a team approach and a collaborative approach is actually really useful. But then also go deeper and go, what are the things that they're asking? What are the barriers that they constantly come up with from the people that your sales team are speaking to? And that'll give you content ideas and things that you can actually record and give answers and value to, because you're answering questions that effectively are FAQs for your ideal client.
I mean, we do similar thing when it comes to our clients, and when we map them out, and we, rather than having sort of your ideal client, we have the ideal viewer, the IV, because they're the lifeline of your video content. So the idea is who is the ideal viewer, and rather than looking into we do look into their pain points as well, but we also look into what are they searching, because some of the problems we have is that the ideal viewer might not be aware of the problem they have. So that gives us another problem of going, okay, how do we make them problem aware and then bring them in to realize that this person is the solution? So understanding who your ideal viewer is absolutely key to sort of being able to mold the content in and around them. Let's move on to the next one. I'm conscious that we're getting on a bit, so we'll do one more quick one and wrap up. How frequently should I be posting new video content? Daily, weekly, monthly? I've heard silly things. I've heard some people saying you should be posting 10, 15 times a day, which is crazy. For somebody who doesn't do content, if they're right at the start of their journey, that's enough to put you off business altogether. Like that's a horrible thought. It's so daunting. And, it's often something I go against. I see some influencers that will say you need to be putting out 10 pieces of content a day, which is fine for them at the level they're at, when they often have a team behind them and they're spending 30 grand a month on that team to produce that content. If you're a one-man band or you've got a small team, that's much, much harder to achieve when you've got a business to run on the side of it as well, a family life and a social life to juggle too. So that I think that side of it is going way, way too far. I think my answer in a nutshell when it comes to frequency generally tends to be is you need to find the frequency that is sustainable for you, but also works with your audience. So that's the only caveat. So what can you maintain, but what keeps your audience there enough engaging? So you might have to push the boat out a little bit and put more out if needed, but it doesn't have to be 20 times a day.
But it has to be valuable.
It does have to be valuable.
I think that's it. It's just like, once again, it comes to function. It's like, for most business owners probably listening to this, if they're like the majority that we that come to us, probably like one long form video on YouTube a week, and then smaller Shatter content, smaller videos on your social daily. And then if you also then on top of that also want to do a little live or a little ad hoc video on your phone every now and again just to show up, great. I mean, but this is just like, it's like different spices, isn't it? There are some videos, if you just do it live, it's just you hanging out, doing whatever. It's just popping up in front of your audience. The shorter videos you've got are probably going to be more value focused, specific little questions, little shots of value. And then the longer form ones are going to be more educational, more building trust, building relationship, building value. So it's all about what are your videos doing? But like when we work with people, like it's one day of filming and you get enough content to last you a long time. So it doesn't need to like dominate your time. You don't need to become a full-time influencer, Hormozy style. You just need to look and go, if I actually get a rhythm of content that works for me, that works for my audience, am I going to be better off in 6 months' time? Am I going to have a stronger brand, a stronger business, more leads? If the answer is yes, then that's it. It doesn't have to take a huge amount of time, is basically what I'm saying.
I think it comes back around to, again, there's no one answer for all. And I'll probably finish it on an example I often use when people ask me this question. Because I remember doing research on this a while ago, and this sort of bit of research popped up and it stuck with me. And when it comes to posting content and how often you post it, they took two big brands and compared them. One was Nike. The other one was National Geographic. National Geographic post, okay, they picked these two brands as well, by the way, because they had roughly the same following, roughly the same follow count, roughly the same engagement. So they could kind of go like for like. National Geographic posts 5 to 15 times a day. So obviously a lot of information, a lot of education at that point out there. Nike, at the time, don't know whether they still are, but this a few years ago, but at the time we're posting roughly around 10 times a year. They both got the same engagement on their posts. They both got the same level of views, the same level of engagement. And clearly that strategy worked because they were doing it and they spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on their advertising, on their marketing, on their strategies. Clearly worked for what they're doing. So it doesn't matter whether you're a small business or an absolutely global business. There's no one size fits all. So with that, I'll leave it there. And I think I'll thank you guys for joining me this evening. And I'll thank everybody who's watching this and watched it on replay and listening to it. If you guys have any questions that you'd like to pose to either myself, Alex, or Nathan, feel free to either comment or message one of us, and we'll make sure to answer it in a future episode. But other than that, thank you very much, and we'll catch you next time.